What's good, YouTube? Sensational Srs here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for November 22nd, 2019's reset. So let's get right into this and see what we got good for this week. We're gonna head over to the base of operations. Here, the Dark Zone Gear Vendor has a prototype performance mod with 5% sticky bomb explosion radius. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations, and a weapons vendor here has a Tactical Super 90 SBS with a gear score of 270. It has 312% stagger, and the talents it has is competent, responsive, and deadly. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor, and here we got a SOCOM M1A with a gear score of 275. It has 163% headshot damage. The talents it has is disciplined, unforgiving, and prepared. Also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 4% reload speed, 11.50% magazine size, and 9.90% rate of fire. For our next gear item, we're going to head over to the special equipment vendor. We're still at the base operations. And here we got a Cassidy with a gear score of 279. It has 325% stagger, and the talents it has is vicious, ferocious, and you already know the third talent, boomstick. Also here we got a Historian with a gear score of 281. It has 153% headshot damage, and the talents it has is commanding and prepared, and you already know the third talent. Also here we got a Liberator with a gear score of 278. This Liberator has 21% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is adept, predatory, and vicious. Also here we got a Police UMP 45 with a gear score of 267. It has 18.50% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is unforgiving, deadly, and the third talent, ambusher. Also here we got a Srs A1 with a gear score of 284. It has 165% headshot damage, and the talents it has is prepared, adept, and toxic. Also here we got a tactical vest with the talent rapid on there. It has a gear score of 272. The armor is 1,869. Its roll for stamina 1,189, and the attributes it has is all resistance, exotic damage resilience, and increased kill XP. Also here we got a tactical pack with the talent specialized on there. It has a gear score of 276. It has 1,307 armor. Its roll for electronics 1,227, and the attributes it has is health and bleed resistance. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% turret damage. For our next gear item, we're going to head over to the meat locker. Here, the weapons vendor has an extended magazine with 117% magazine size, 3% crit hit chance, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear item, we're going to head over to the cavern. Here, the gear vendor has a prototype stamina mod with 257 stamina and 3,250 skill power. For our next gear item, we're going to head over to Camp Clinton. Here, the special equipment vendor has a Liberator with a gear score of 281. It has 20% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is unforgiving, fierce, and accurate. Also here we got a Model 700 with a gear score of 269. It has 155% headshot damage, and the talents it has is disciplined, vicious, and elevated. Also here we got an operator mask with the talent enduring on here with a gear score of 266. It has 897 armor. Its roll for stamina 1,167. And the attributes it has is exotic damage resilience and disorientant resistance. Also here we got a tactical vest with the talent vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 274. The armor is 1,946. Its roll for firearms 1,143. And the attributes it has is exotic damage resilience, all resistance, and ammo capacity. Also here we got a Spec Ops Pack with the talent specialized on there. It has a gear score of 277. The armor is 1,290. Its roll for firearms 1,221, and the attributes it has is stability and ammo capacity. Also here we got some operator gloves with the talent savaged on there with a gear score of 268. The armor is 910. Its roll for firearms 1,189, and the attributes it has is skill haste, shotgun damage, and crit hit chance. Also here we got a prototype firearms mod with 262 firearms and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 7.50% seeker mine explosion radius. Also here we got a Tyrant Suppressor with 7.50% crit hit chance, 2.50% stability, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear item, is going to head over to Dante's Run. Here the gear vendor has a Spec Ops Armor with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 276. The armor is 1,925. Its roll for stamina 1,214. And attributes it has is health, enemy armor damage, and increased kill XP. For our next gear item, is going to head over to Autumn's Hope. Here the gear vendor has a tactical pack with the talent Specialized on there. It has a gear score of 266. It has 1,220 armor. Its roll for electronics 1,140. And the attributes it has is health and disrupt resistance. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 4.50% support station healing speed. For our next gear item, is going to head over to the Southpaw. Here the gear vendor has some Spec Ops gloves with the talent Savage on there. They have a gear score of 270. Their armor is 878. Its roll for electronics 1,247. And the attributes it has is marksman rifle damage, crit hit damage, and pistol damage. For our next gear item, is going to head over to the Grindhouse. Here the weapons vendor has an MG5 with a gear score of 274. It has 21% damage to targets out of cover. And the talents it has is Unforgiven, Talented, and Fierce. For our next gear item, is going to head over to the Firewall. Here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod with 2% pulse crit hit chance. For our next gear item, is going to head over to the Crypt. Here the weapons vendor has a rugged mini reflex sight with 7.50% crit hit chance, 4% crit hit damage, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear item, is going to head over to West 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a classic M1A with a gear score of 259. It has 143% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Deadly, Determined, and Ferocious. And also here we got a Gunslinger's vest with the talent Reckless on there. It has a gear score of 261. The armor is 1,778. Its roll for firearms 1,122. And the attributes it has is exotic damage resilience, health on kill, and ammo capacity. And then I'll mention this because I'm here. We got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% ballistic shield damage. For our next gear item, is going to head over to West 39th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a rugged mini reflex sight with 7.50% crit hit chance, 2.50% stability, and 5% optimal range. Also here we got a prototype Firearms mod with 251 firearms and 3,090 health. For our next gear item, is going to head over to West 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an extended magazine with 119.50% magazine size, 4% reload speed, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 61st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a loud vent break with 18% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 6% headshot damage. And then also here, I mentioned it because I'm here, we got a C79 scope with 17% crit hit damage, 2.50% stability, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 58th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a tactical mask with the talent Tenacious on there. It has a gear score of 267. The armor is 911. Its roll for firearms 1,181. And the attributes it has is exotic damage resilience and blind death resistance. And also here we got an operator vest with the talent Reckless on there. It has a gear score of 266. The armor is 1,714. Its roll for firearms 1,223. And the attributes it has is all resistance, health on kill, and increased kill XP. And then also here we got a Spec Ops Pack with the talent Inventive on there. It has a gear score of 277. The armor is 1,321. Its roll for stamina 1,164. And the attributes it has is health and bleed resistance. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to the Park Ave. Here the Dark Zone weapons mod vendor has some weapons here that I would never use, but I thought I'd mention them in case anybody likes to use them. We got a converted SMG9 with a gear score of 270. It has 19.50% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is responsive, skilled, and vicious. Also here we got a military SA58 with a gear score of 264. It has 20% enemy armor damage, And the talents it has is competent, destructive, and vicious. And then also here we got this M700 Carbon with a gear score of 275. It has 161% headshot damage. And the talents it has is competent, accurate, and elevated. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 53rd Street checkpoint. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype electronics mod with 262 electronics and 3,248 skill power. And then also here we got a small red grip with 18% crit hit damage, 2% accuracy, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 46th Street checkpoint. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a Spec Ops mask with the talent Tenacious on there. It has a gear score of 264. The armor is 864. This roll for stamina 1,124. And the attributes it has is enemy armor damage and blind death resistance. Then also here we got a prototype Firearms Mod with 252 firearms and 1% crit hit chance. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 42nd Street checkpoint. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 7% ballistic shield health. And then also here we got a rugged mini reflex sight with 7% crit hit chance, 5% optimal range, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear item, is going to head over to East 34th Street checkpoint. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a large suppressor FDE with 19% crit hit damage, 2.50% crit hit chance, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear item, is going to head over to the 5th Ave checkpoint. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a police MK17 with a gear score of 276. It has 157% headshot damage, and the talents it has is intense, vicious, and fierce. For our next gear item, is going to head over to DZ2 Safe Room. Here, the Dark Zone gear vendor has a tactical vest with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 269. The armor is 1,809. This roll for firearms 1,214. And the attributes it has is enemy armor damage, health, and increased kill XP. And also here we got an operator pack with the talent Inventive on there. It has a gear score of 278. The armor is 1,312. This roll for firearms 1,252. And the attributes it has is stability and disrupt resistance. For our next gear item, is going to head over to DZ5 Safe Room. Here, the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has an extended magazine with 110.50% magazine size, 4.50% reload speed, and 5.40% rate of fire. And then also here we got a 5.52 hollow sight with 7.50% crit hit chance, 4% crit hit damage, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to the DZ8 Safe Room. Here, the Dark Zone gear vendor has an operator mask with the talent Tenacious on there. It has a gear score of 269. The armor is 988. This roll for stamina 1,121. And the attributes it has is health on kill and increased kill XP. And then also here we got a Spec Ops Armor with the talent Rapid on there. It has a gear score of 264. The armor is 1,718. This roll for firearms 1,165. And the attributes it has is health on kill, health, and increased kill XP. And then also here we got a Spec Ops Pack with the talent Relentless on there. It has a gear score of 272. The armor is 1,328. This roll for stamina 1,127. And the attributes it has is health and burn resistance. For our next gear item, is going to head over to DZ9 Safe Room. Here, the Dark Zone weapons mod vendor has an extended magazine with 115.50% magazine size, 2.50% crit hit chance, and 4.50% reload speed. And then also here we got an SR7 suppressor with 18% crit hit damage, 6% headshot damage, and 4.50% optimal range. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video for November 22nd, 2019. I hope everybody who tuned into it found them something that they needed. Drop a like if you hadn't, sub if you hadn't. I appreciate that support. Thank you. And I will see y'all with the next one, everybody. Take care. Peace.